So I would like to call the Finance Committee meeting to order for June 7th. And Ms. Salter, if you'll call the roll.
Yes, sir. Dr. Jones?
I'm here.
Counselor Guani?
I'm here.
Counselor Allamon?
Here.
Counselor Smith? Here. And Counselor Hart? I got you on this side there. Maybe take that.
Everybody.
Present, you have a quorum.
I feel like we need to invite everybody up to the dais, but I guess we're not to that stage. But hopefully we're very close. We're very close, according to our president. So that's an official.
As soon as I learn how to reduce my space, then we'll
Okay. I understand.
He's enjoying the elbow raise.
Exactly. Okay. Well, yes, sir. Yes, we do have a lot of chairs, and you can sit wherever you like. So, okay. So, is there a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes for May 17th and approve them as distributed?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Made by Mr. Allamon, second by Mrs. Smith. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. That passes 5-0. Is there anyone in the audience that has an item on the finance agenda tonight?
Yeah, I think the gentleman on the front row, or that last one, 1905. Yeah, isn't that right, 311 Oxmoor, isn't that y'all? Yes, sir. Okay, yeah, so that's,
Okay.
they're here for that.
Okay. Why don't we, and anyone else? I want to be aware of people that we have here in person. So why don't we, without objection, I'll take that out of order, and we'll take that first. 1905-21, request for consideration of sale of property located at 311 Oxmoor Road.
Is that sales of alcohol?
sale of property.
Sale, this is property.
Property land.
This is property. And so, Mr. Wyatt, do you?
Yeah, I'll speak to it.
Great.
Good Lord, that's loud.
Yeah, please come forward and you,
There's a sheet right there.
and there's a sheet if you can sign in, please.
Absolutely.
So this is the land, it's a very narrow strip of land that's between Nina's Cleaners,
311.
and Logo Express. I couldn't think of the name, thank you. It's currently leased to them.
No, sir.
No, or is leased to the,
It's,
there's a lease for the billboard.
there's a billboard which is on my property and on city property. We can't figure it out. But we figure it out, the billboard needs to come down.
But just so let's identify the property first so that everyone understands.
Okay.
Is this little strip of land that's between those two buildings. And so that's what we're talking about, is that they would like to purchase that land from the city and take or have the billboard taken down.
Correct. The billboard is currently under lease to Lamar under the second option until 2023. We've explored remedies to get rid of this. At this time, there are no remedies without being in breach of lease. It is the lot, currently, and that billboard, while an asset to us, we are willing to take that asset down in order to acquire this lot so we can continue our expansion and the beautification of the area, which we've already done, I say, a fairly good job with. Mr. Yusuf purchased the building in 2014, located at 307 Oxmoor Road. That's the first sheet in the packet that I just handed up there. And then in 2020, we expanded that property and did some beautification of that property into what it is now. Mr. Yusuf has also acquired the property located at 333 Green Springs, the former lot of the old Checkers that is set vacant for quite some time, and we have plans to renovate that lot. The problem with that lot is that lot did not have sewer attached, and when the sewer transferred over from the city to county sewer, the sewer that Checkers was connected to was illegal. And so the only options to get sewer to that lot would have been go down Green Springs towards Publix, across Green Springs towards the Exxon, or connect to the lot in the back of Mr. Yusuf's property, which he has been to the Sewer Planning Commission in the city of Birmingham, and we've gotten the plans approved for that. And that requires a 20-foot easement going across the back of 307 Oxmoor all the way to 311 Oxmoor. And so that will require a huge easement on the back of that. And Sean has also recently acquired the property at Nina's Cleaners, 302 Columbiana Road, and renovation, demolition has begun on that, and the plans of what we're trying to do with that, we showed you all a little drawing of that in that packet as well. So that being said, the property we would like to acquire is currently mentioned at 311 Oxmoor Road, and we'd like to do so in order to expand the business and provide more beautification of the area. With that, I'll let Sean add whatever.
I mean, thanks for everything. Homewood has been very good to us. I mean, I call my workplace Logo Express as a goose that's laying the golden egg. Just because of that, I could purchase this property, that property, and now there's a small property that's got no use right now. All it's doing is collecting empty buggies from Publix and all the homeless people dropping clothes there. There's bushes very high, you know. I would like to fix that up, either make a parking lot or expand my business there. So I see there's a billboard, that's an issue, and I'm fully committed to work with the city to come to a compromise where it benefits both of us.
And you said the lease for that billboard is good through the 2023?
2023 is when their last option expires.
The end of 2023?
2023, and I've gone over the lease tooth and toenail. They can get out at any time, but we can't.
Right. They
And
can opt out of it, but they're probably.
so they tried at the beginning of the pandemic. They're like, oh, well, you know, the pandemic's hurting us. We need to pay you less rent, or we're going to tear down the billboard. I'm like, great, take it down. Let's go.
That being said, they did call me recently and they said, hey, they really want us to be on their side because city reached them and they want to extend the lease. They want to do more, you know, and they offered more rent. They're like, hey, we're even willing to buy this from you, you know? But
Sell something that's on the city property.
honestly, that's something, Mike, I have no control over, you know? I'm just a guy who inherited the billboard when I bought it. So, but I'm here to work with the city any way I can. So help me, you know, achieve this, make my business better.
Okay, so let me just make sure so this is the sliver where is between the back of Nina's and the side of your building that fronts Palisades?
Yes, ma'am. On one of those pages there, you'll see
There's a picture.
aerial view. The 3 squares highlighted in neon are the
Yes.
ones that Mr. Yusuf currently owns.
Yeah.
The one in black is the property in question.
Right, okay.
And
And then
then-
the one that y'all bought is the blue where the taco truck is?
Yeah, all
sits
three
on?
of those.
All 3 of those.
All three, okay, so those are, yeah, the purple is the thing, okay, gotcha.
Get rid of the truck.
Okay. Just making sure I'm getting all my locations correct. Okay.
Okay, any questions?
So what is the request exactly?
So to sell the property.
For us to sell the property to him?
Correct.
And then hopefully eventually get the billboard?
Well,
down.
I think what we can do is that we can,
Make that,
there's a, as I understand it, a notice provision to terminate the lease. That we can make it conditional upon them giving us evidence that they have provided notice of the termination of the lease before the sale goes through.
okay.
But they can't terminate it.
We can't terminate immediately, but we're pro-offering on the completion of the lease.
It won't actually come down for a while, but they can go ahead and provide the notice of the
Mr.
termination.
John, we can simply maybe write addendum and hand the lease over to you guys. You guys handle it. You know, if
Who's
that's
getting the
something-
rent? We are?
They are, somebody is.
I can give the
So
rent
you're
to you
getting the
guys.
rent, even
I'm
though
getting,
it's
no,
not-
I can give you guys the
No,
rent.
no, that's fine. I'm just curious. I mean, you're getting the rent even though it's not even on your property?
It's been grandfathered.
Line.
Oh,
It's just, I believe touching it for like last 35 years and
It's fine.
this
I got it.
situation
I
we've
got
been
it.
through before and I don't know.
Mayor, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, Alex did a very good job explaining what,
Okay.
he and I.
so we gotta get it back.
Yeah, so my suggestion would be just to have them provide evidence that you've provided notice of termination of the lease with the billboard,
Or you can assign it to us.
or you, yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that, because then we can,
That would be better.
yeah, if you're willing to do that,
I'm willing to do anything where it benefits city and benefits me.
Well, if you're willing to assign the lease to us, then that would accomplish the same goal, and then we could,
Look at the lease, but I-
Sure, I can email it to you.
They're pretty
The
simple.
mayor sent it to me, I
It,
did.
it was, it's already been assigned once when he purchased the property, so I don't see a trouble in
I don't
reassigning.
know of any reason that we can have that.
and then we can do, I believe,
We need to
Mayor,
get
we've
more
already
data.
asked for an appraisal, and Mr. Kendrick, we've already asked for an
Yeah,
appraisal.
I ordered an appraisal, but I don't have it back.
Okay, well then, should we, here's my question. Should we make a motion to move this out pending getting the, valuation and and having Mr. Kendrick have a chance to look over the lease? Or should we carry it over until our 21st meeting and deal with it then so that we can take care of it in the 28th council meeting?
Unless we're putting you in a bind time-wise, Mr. Kendrick, I would say it could go ahead and be sent out, pending those things.
Okay, okay, all right. Well, then I would make a motion to approve pending, receiving the, evaluation of the, value of the property, and then also, having Mr. Kendrick have a chance to look at that lease, and that being assigned to us once everything is taken care of.
Can we please just consider one thing, that billboard does generate income.
Yeah.
It's been generating income for the last 40
Yeah.
some years. And it's got a value by Lamar. It's got a value of X amount of dollars.
Right.
And, you know, I wanna pay a fair price for the lot that is currently not being used. Just please consider that I'm willing to take that down, something that's been generating me income, so.
All right.
Okay, been motion, second by Mr. Alomon. And we appreciate your approach and your attitude in working with us on this, so I appreciate that. Any other questions?
Is there a use of the property that we're gonna receive? Typically, there's a development commitment.
Yeah, I mean, we need to understand what's happening there. I know a big convenience store tried to buy it from them a year or two ago.
From my understanding, that lot sits in the GER development, as is 302 Columbiana and is 307 Oxmoor. Currently, you've seen what we've done with 307 Oxmoor. Our plan is to continue our business located at 307 Oxmoor because we're in desperate need of more space. We built all the space we can build and we need more.
And I could assure you one thing, in the last 2-3 years, I had numerous offers of like an oil change place on my corner lot, a car wash place. I said no to a lot of money, just because I'm next door and my bread and butter is there, and I want that place to look nice. So we have a very good tenant right now. The city's gonna be very pleased if we can work out a deal. I just can't disclose that tenant. You know, it's gonna be one of the first one in Alabama, so I'm working with them.
Do you have any specifics on what you're planning at this point?
Expand my Logo Express business there.
And that's expanding towards Green Springs
No,
or
sir, on
back
the-
towards?
It'll be set current with the current building and then go back. Similar to what we're imagining is maybe the same facade, same structure with a glass, energy efficient glass front, nice lights on the front, nice white all the way back to where it's even or higher than the roof line current.
And I know that, or at least I think I saw some sort of
Is it rendering?
rendering.
Yeah,
These,
that's
right?
for the corner lot.
The render-
That's, and where the taco truck is.
So the first rendering you see under the drawing is the rendering, like you said, where the taco truck currently sits. And that'll be a 3 to 4 unit building with 3 units facing Green Springs and 1 unit facing Oxmoor Road. Then the second rendering you see is the 302 Columbiana Road where Nina's Cleaners currently sits. That's a proposed rendering. We're not exactly sure on the schematics of that yet, but we're working on that. That picture I think you're holding there, the white building with the embroidery on it, I can't see.
Yeah,
I'm
that's,
sorry.
that's the Nina's
This one?
cleaner. And, yeah.
Yes.
So that's what Nina's currently look like, and my plans is to turn it either retail or restaurant.
Retail or restaurant, okay.
And these are the 3 buildings that would face Green Springs
Yes, ma'am.
on the lot right there. on the
Yes, ma'am.
Is the taco truck gonna go in that restaurant? I'm just curious.
No, I'm gonna hold on to him as long as I can. I love that
I was
guy.
about to say, my son might make us sit
No,
in
no,
and
no, no.
took
I
that chocolate
mean-
truck away.
So, he's not going nowhere, hopefully, with y'all's blessings.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I need to alter my motion in any way,
Well,
or do we need to?
I guess we need to determine how much we want, how many specifics we want on what they're doing, with the land.
That's why, would it be better to, if there is not a time consideration, would it be better to carry this over so that we can get some of those details by our next meeting?
I mean, will any of this require any sort of rezoning at all, or?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like
That's
it.
not part of the.
Shouldn't.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
Okay, so.
It all falls in that GERD.
Yeah, I think everything.
Everything's in
all
the GERD.
4 pieces fall within the GERD, so I think we're good on zoning. It's just a matter of, having some specifics with what you're gonna do.
Ideally, it'll be to continue our business. Like I said, it'll be, you know, on the first expansion, on the first page, you'll notice in our expansion, we added 1,200 square feet where the parking lot was, or where the Miss Pam had her plants hung inside the gated area. The ideal thing would be either to make that parking or add that same 1,200 square feet to where we can expand and have future use. Because those machines take up a lot of room, and so it doesn't leave a lot of room for showroom or whatnot.
And once we figure it out, how long before the billboard goes down, I can't build anything. But if
Sure.
I know I'm gonna purchase this, I do wanna clean it, put a fence there, so I'm kind of far away from the apartments behind. Because a lot of time right now, any crime happens, they're jumping over the fence, going through those apartments. And I wanna take care of that ASAP.
Okay.
And imagine how pretty the skyline will look once the billboard's down.
Well,
So please say yes.
I don't think anyone has any trouble with the concept. I think it's just a matter of doing what we've done with the other instances where we sell property is that we generally require some sort of specific plan with what you're gonna do with the property before we actually sell it. So, I mean, you've done that with the other side, kind of. I don't know how long it takes to make this into this.
No, I've got that rendering, I can email.
Well, I mean, in terms of like a site plan and everything, do you have,
I don't have a site plan, I've got a rendering.
okay. Yeah, I think a site plan would actually be better if, I guess the question is there any time crunch that we can't wait and get that 2 weeks from now or whenever
So
it's?
there's no time crunch,
Okay.
it's just something we're trying to figure it out that, hey, this is.
We're trying to put all our ducks in a row to
Yep.
move forward.
Yeah.
No, and I think we want to be there too. So
Okay.
I think we're traveling down the same track. I think we
Yeah.
just need to
Okay.
get everything
Sure, no
together. So
problem, no
why
problem.
don't we, if the
Yeah.
committee's
Carry it
fine with
over.
it, carry it over, and then if y'all can come back in 2 weeks with,
Sure.
some additional information for what you're gonna do with the
Okay,
land,
sure, fair enough.
then we can move forward
If
at
you
that
have
time.
anything, if you could send it to me, then I can.
Absolutely, I got
start
it.
a contract.
So,
Do you need these back?
No, those are.
so we have to determine market value, correct?
Yeah, which he said he's already ordered he's already ordered the valuation, so he's just waiting on that to come
Yeah,
back.
I thought we'd have it back, but I'll check the guy.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, when determining market value, 20 feet back is gonna be unusable to us because we have to have a setback that's gonna be given off to the county for the sewer input.
Okay.
So 20 feet is not gonna be able to be used by us at all.
Just show us it on your site plan.
Yes, sir, I will, yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay.
Great, thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so you withdrawn your motion, you withdrawn your second, so, without any objection, we'll carry this over till the next, finance meeting, and we'll have all the specifics, during that time. So thank you for your patience on that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
before we move on to the next item, there's an item that is not on the agenda that is going to be added to the agenda as, new business next Monday night before council.
Okay.
And Mr. Griffith is here to just give us a real brief
Okay.
update so that we'll kind of know what he's talking about before Monday night, because he is not going to be able to be here.
That'd be
Monday night
great.
for council.
Come on
This-
up to the
This is
microphone.
Eddie Griffith. He is the chair of the Homewood Historic Preservation Commission. And he has received, or they have received a grant that he is going to tell us about, because we're going to need the mayor to sign that grant to accept.
We like grants.
I think he's going to Mexico with it, don't y'all?
I'm ready, okay. So what we're doing, 2 years ago, City of Homewood became a certified local government, and it took several years for that to happen. We applied for a grant immediately after becoming a CLG, and there just wasn't enough time to work it out. Last year, with COVID going on, we didn't attempt anything. So this year, we wanted to take advantage of our CLG status and get this National Park Service money. So one of the needs we saw was to the Rosedale Historic District was nominated and surveyed almost 18 years ago, and a lot has happened in the neighborhood. There's been a lot of discussion and sometimes controversy about some sites in the neighborhood. So our idea was to go in and resurvey the Rosedale Historic District, which is the west side of Highway 31, just to see the status of the district, what's been lost, what's been modified, and to see if there are any other buildings that would qualify as a contributing structure at this time. And the benefit of that to any project in the neighborhood, it's easier to get a grant. Most grants go to commercial structures, which means just income generating properties. So if someone owned 10 houses and they need to re-roof all 10 of them, they could get a grant to go in and re-roof those and get a tax credit for those. So it does give some benefit to the neighborhood.
Eddie, I know you told Alex and Patrick and I this the other day. The east side, which is where the Lee Center is, it was required to be resurveyed when Service First built their structure. So that side has already been done.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the west side has not, so that would just catch the west side up
Okay.
with what's already
Right.
been done
Yeah,
on the east side.
The east side is smaller. The west side has 177 total structures that we'll look at. So we estimated the total cost was $13,350. We have to match 40%. So we applied for the $8,000 grant. We already have funds allocated to the Historic Commission that we haven't spent. So we would use 2,000 of that, and then we would contribute a minimum of 84 hours that would be valued at the rest of the contribution from the city.
Are you hiring a third party?
We are. We haven't done that yet. The Historical Commission has to approve our RFP for a professional, but we have some in mind that we can send this to. And we talked to one to determine what we thought this would cost.
And there's a woman who is helping the Historic Commission with a project that they've been working on with Union Baptist Church, and so she's sort of already on board, and she's a preservation.
Right, she's interested in doing this. She doesn't live in Homewood, but she is interested in helping us, so we feel like we have enough money to do it, but we will have to take proposals. We
Okay,
took
great.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
We took proposals on the project we're doing with the Union Missionary, and she is the only one that submitted.
Okay. So that'll be added to.
Yeah,
council.
and I'll just address that quickly, the timing of it. As I understand it, there is sort of a timing issue with getting this
Yeah.
grant, and so that was the reason for adding it to other new business,
Right.
rather than, we just didn't know about it previously to add it to this committee.
Yeah.
So, but in order to take advantage of the grant, we want to make sure that we're doing it timing-wise, so that's why I said we would add it to other new business, and then have Eddie come tonight to
Yeah.
give us some information about it. So I
And I-
apologize that it didn't go through those,
Yeah.
the usual cycles, but
Yeah.
And that's
when
what-
someone's
that's why I
giving us
wanted-
money, we'll take it.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted Eddie to go ahead and come tonight. He's not gonna be available Monday night, so I'll be able to answer questions in his absence, but, wanted him to go ahead and give everybody an update so that we'd all kind of know where we were, what we were talking about.
Okay, great.
Right?
Okay.
Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you
Okay.
so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Sign in.
Good. We've taken care of everyone that's here, except for our usual suspects back there. So we'll start at the top, 160115. Update on past, present, future sidewalk projects. Mr. Smith, do we have a report?
Good evening. So I don't think I've given one of these sidewalk reports before. Greg's name is still on the sheet. And so I'm not sure how he did it, or I feel like I'm trying to fill big shoes here.
Well, we're mainly just looking for what you have in process
Yep.
and what you need funding on, and just to explain kind of the process. We've been just getting all the information in here because we're going to be having to fund it if we have to to fund anything, but it's also in public works, so they might have additional information, but hopefully we can just take care of it.
It's in P&D.
Okay. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. So I know you're working on Salter
Yep,
and
so
Broadway and
Salter,
Shades. Okay.
so Salter, the survey is finishing up, probably today it finished up, and we're looking at design over the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then at that point, we'll go through a review process and some back and forth, probably with the design consultant, Kimley Horn. And then the project will be ready to bid at whatever point the city's ready. So that's Salter. One that we looked at this morning and that you guys have considered for a while now, I think, is Lancaster. I met with a contractor who provided a price, a quote estimate of over a year ago, in the amount of about $50,000 to $51,000 was his estimate a year ago for a sidewalk construction project 1,200 feet along Lancaster. As we all know that construction prices have soared since then. If the project's going to be over $50,000, then we're going to have to bid the project.
Right.
It's also a pretty challenging project with lots of what we call visible improvements. So there's some new driveways, there's a lot of landscaping, that kind of thing in the right of way. So it would be my recommendation that we would proceed with a survey and actual design engineer drawings that we could bid at the time they were complete. And so right now I'm currently waiting on a price back for engineering services for that.
Okay. So this mainly just, I guess, a report. You're not requesting any funding for that
Nope.
engineering study till you know kind of what that looks like in terms of.
That's
funding.
right. Yep. I'll get a fee quote from an engineering firm who's Kimley Horn, who's currently doing design services for the city. And they'll provide us with what that looks like.
Okay.
And then we'll take it from there.
Okay. Was there anything on ADA ramps or anything?
Yep, I have information on ADA ramps also. So we have received pricing in the past couple of months, since I've been here actually, for a few ADA ramps at Hall Kent School, as well as Hall Avenue. There are 2 on Hall Avenue, and there are 2 ramps along Broadway at Shades Road. It's a mid-block crossing. And my idea is that, so the contractor that I talked to about Lancaster, we rode around and looked at these ADA ramps earlier today, just to make sure that his prices were still good from what he quoted us 3 months ago, and they are. So he's still got to provide us prices for Shades and Broadway. But I'd like to package those up as one PO, if you will, and sort of just issue those out at the same time so he can just knock those out this summer. I think kind of the holdup was we were waiting on school to get out for Hall Kent, but it makes sense to do them all as one project.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
I
Yeah,
do.
Oh, so go ahead, John. Sorry. No, go ahead.
Cale, you weren't here when we did the sidewalk between Rumson between Yorkshire and Windsor, but it's a 90-degree sidewalk, okay? And I know of 3 different people who have lost tires on that sidewalk hitting it, because
You mean the curb?
the
It's just a
curb,
turned
the
down
curb,
sidewalk.
curb
Right,
on
sure.
the sidewalk is
Right.
90 degrees, and it's sharp. I mean, you hit it, you pop your tire. And so, I don't know why they didn't curve it, but can you make sure they curve our sidewalks, please?
I will make sure that they curve our sidewalk.
I will tell you, when I first got on the council, I asked, and it was gonna be an additional $11,000 to go back and fix that, so at the
Just to
time.
fix that.
That was in
yeah,
2016.
yeah. But it's not that to do it
Not to do it
upfront.
while you're doing it, right. Yes, Cale, I just wanted to ask, I know we spoke earlier about Lancaster, and I just want to make sure you're okay with me sending out that information that you just said, obviously in open committee, but I mean, do you have any problem with me sending that in a newsletter to the Ward 5?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I mean, we're just waiting on a
Right.
design quote right now.
yeah, no, I think that's super fair, and I think that everyone will be pleased that, that we're gonna do, engineering and design
Yeah.
on it, and
And
not
I'm
just.
super excited about Salter.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was good news.
Yeah,
That was good news.
I drove by there today, and the surveyor was finishing up, and he said that he'd gotten a lot of positive feedback from folks that were walking up and down, looking forward to the sidewalk.
Nice, okay, great.
Any other questions other than Ward 5? I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Hey, I have a quick question, Walter.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Is there any
I mean,
update
yes,
at
ma'am.
all on Mecca at this point? or-
Oh, yeah, well,
I know it's tabled, so is
we
that
can take
okay?
it, I mean, yeah, we can, I guess you guys have to take it off the table.
Can we talk about it without it? How does that work?
No, so, which one?
It's a table item, 120321.
Whether to do engineering for it?
Just a general update.
Right.
Uh,
I think you can talk a general update without.
Yeah, we were not gonna bring it off the table till we had a report from you, but do you have an official report?
I mean, I can provide an official report of kind of where we are. I think we've all talked about it. I know I've talked to Councilors Gear and Gwaltney about it. Councilor Gear and I walked the project. I've talked about it with Kimley Horn and Clark Bailey and the people that provided the proposal to do this study along that corridor. And so what we talked about is that if they were to do this study that they proposed to do, they would just provide the city with a couple of options, a couple of viable options, right? Whether to put the sidewalk here or over here or there, whatever. A couple of different things that would work, but no real design. So they wouldn't be able to take, you wouldn't be able to take that conceptual that they did and then bid it as a real project. So our staff upstairs can provide kind of the same thing. So I talked to Kimley Horn about that. They said that's perfectly fine. We'd rather for the city to use that money for actual design services along the corridor. Does that make sense? Does that
Well-
answer your question?
Well, I mean, so the decision has been made not to do the study and for the city to decide, make a determination about a sidewalk and where it should go and that
Yeah,
sort of
so,
thing?
okay, yeah, so, and I told Counselor Gear that what we would do would be, at some point this summer, kind of bumping up to the next year, we would put together a couple of viable options of sidewalk placement and hopefully put a magnitude of cost with each of those, and then turn it over to you guys and let you make a decision.
In other words, what we need to do is make a decision about where the sidewalk's gonna be placed, as opposed to engineers actually looking at it to see where it can be placed, or anything like that, or designing it. We just need we need y'all to give us the options, and then we need to make a decision about
Right.
where we feel.
It feels like all the options that are out there right now are viable options.
In other words, this is a policy decision, not an engineering decision.
Right, but we're gonna help. that.
Right, within those options you provide,
That's right.
but that's where we are.
We're gonna
with it.
say, this is what the sidewalk looks like in this location, and this is how much it costs. In this location, it looks like this, and this is what it costs. And I feel like that's what the service that Kimley Horn was going to provide. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, I mean, if that's where we stand, that's where we stand. That's what I understood, but I didn't know if there was any discussion, anything different.
All right.
So we're just keeping that one carried over on the table?
Yeah, we're just gonna carry it over.
All right, it's not off the table, it's still tabled?
It's still tabled. And then, so when you come up with a solid recommendation or whatever, then we'll take it off the table and work through it.
Okay.
All right. So we'll carry over 1601-15. All right. 2504-17, request for consideration of 18th Street revitalization project. Do we have anything new on this?
Not tonight. We have, I believe that Keith Strickland is giving us some information probably tomorrow regarding what the next steps are in terms of getting the easements finalized, paid, all that stuff. But there's nothing new tonight.
Okay.
We have the easements for Ed's Pet World and for Barber.
Not the post office.
The post office, I'm waiting on the appraiser from the appraiser's office that to be submitted.
And we
So
may.
we're eventually gonna have to pay for those easements we've signed.
Right. And we've done the Board of Education one as well, but we've still got to do,
As far as I understand, they say that they have the Board of Education, and not due, so we're really down to the post office. And
That's the
so-
last one, yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like, my point is that supposedly they're gonna tell us how we need to make payment to the landowners so we can be reimbursed by the state at the meeting tomorrow. But we're gonna have to authorize payment of these easements that they've signed, based on the appraisals that we've gotten less.
Well, I guess that's the.
So we do need-
What, do we need to send this out so that that can be done on the 14th? Is that sort of the idea? Pending what you find out at the meeting tomorrow?
Depending on tomorrow, yeah. At some point, we have to sign easement.
Right.
We're gonna have to pay for the
Sure.
easements we've acquired.
Well,
So-
we've got the resolutions for the easements, we just haven't made payment.
That's right. They've been approved. We've
Right.
approved both of them.
Except for the post office.
That's right. We
Well-
haven't gotten that finalized.
And one other thing. Have we approved the one for Nadu?
I've
Nadu,
not seen
whatever.
that or what it's.
Well,
We
the,
approved Cosby's and Barber.
the agreement has been made, but I don't know that we have authorized the mayor to sign it. So I think we need
I
to,
don't remember that either.
so
I can tell
We
you
didn't
that.
sign that.
It has not.
it
not
is
an
not.
agreement.
So I think we do need to send that one out and then,
It's the Board of Education and not due that has not been signed by the mayor yet.
but the Board of Education one we've done. We've authorized him to sign it.
Okay, you may be right
I
about
think
that.
they
They asked us
they
to do it
added-
before.
Could
You're
they-
right.
But just
yeah.
Nadu, so we need a motion.
All right, I would make a motion to send the Nadeau, contract out for Monday night so that the mayor can sign that agreement.
Second.
Okay,
And then, Mike, do we need to send something out regarding payment, or is that already authorized by
It's
what we
authorized,
previously
just
done?
saying we're
Okay,
gonna have to write the check.
got it, no problem. Just wanted to make sure we didn't need to take any
We
further.
have that west, we have that 18th Street West budget line item, because
Right.
most of the other stuff we were paying with east, but.
okay, it's been moved by Mrs. Smith, second by Mr. Harden. Any other questions? We're gonna keep carrying this one over too, but we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign, that's 5-0, going to council for that one property. Thank you for everyone's work on that. 020521, request to hear energy savings presentation from Train.
Can you figure
I'll-
that out? I'm still waiting to hear from a couple other cities. I talked to one, but I'm waiting to hear from two others that we got.
Okay, so your request is to carry it over till you get more information?
If you don't mind, please.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Squires? Okay, we'll carry that over without objection. 040521, bid opening set for June 7th at 4:31 PM. Spring tree planting, and I went there at 4:31 and we didn't have any bids, so. The recommendation is to, I believe, to wait until August, when the planting season would be better, and rebid it.
There's just not enough, there's not even inventory.
I was about to say, is that the problem, Berkeley?
On those size trees and
Yeah.
stuff.
You got no
It's
bids,
just
you
a
can
struggle.
negotiate with whoever you like, if you want to. Or you can rebid it. Sure.
Could that negotiation take until August?
It's actually more like October when the planting season.
So could we?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is the colder it is.
Why don't we send, why don't we send it for opening in late August, and then,
Well, and then we could include it in part of the budget hearings.
So you sending it to the table?
Well, yeah, so we seem to be talking about two different
Yeah.
things. So
Yeah.
some people are saying rebid it, some people are saying negotiate for the fall. Am I describing that correctly?
yes, but we have money budgeted in this year's budget, for
there's
this,
just
for
no
mature
trees.
tree planting, of $40,000, but if there's no inventory, we
Yeah,
really
there's
can't, there's nothing we can do about that, so I just say we move the bid out, and if we're
Yeah.
able to get something in time for this year's budget, then great, if not, then it would go to budget hearing anyway. Unless they can do some
I mean,
really
I just
fast
don't-
planning in September.
I mean, people are just buying up landscape trees, there's just not any to buy.
So Berkeley, was that the problem? Wasn't that someone didn't want to do the work, they couldn't get the trees?
Yeah, I mean, the issue's not the work part of it, I mean, that's some, but the main issue is there's trees of that size that they're wanting to do, I mean, all these larger trees and stuff, there's just no inventory available right now. I mean, even though prices are, Scott, there's a lot of projects that are being completed and started, and most of them have, these are back ordered, I mean, some of the ones we had to wait an extra 4 weeks to get. So I would encourage you just to, let's retry it later on, and if not, then, you know, we can redo this thing and maybe just carry that money over into next year's budget and do it, would be my suggestion at this point.
I'd like to make a motion that we delay it till August, end of August. I don't know what date that is.
All right, how about we move the reset bid opening for August 30th, Monday, August 30th.
Well, that'll be, we won't have a meeting that night, that's a fifth Monday.
About the 23rd.
The 23rd, okay, August 23rd. So that would be a council meeting night. Okay,
Unless you want to do it on the 16th.
the 16th is a committee meeting. Maybe we can do it that night.
Yeah, it'd be easier to do it 4:30.
So what do you change, what are you making it?
Okay,
August 16th.
August 16th?
no, yeah, August 16th at 4:30.
Well, actually, the bid opening will be either 4:31 or 4:45, so the bids will take till 4:30, so we've been saying 4:30, now we haven't put.
4:30.
So, because we usually take them to 4:30, so.
Okay.
4:31.
Okay, that's your motion. All right, Mrs. Smith
No,
made
no,
that.
no, that was
no,
Harden.
Mr. Harden's motion, you seconded that.
Yes, I did.
Okay, August 16th at 4:31. And then, if things are not looking good then we'll do something else. But that's the motion, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed by the same sign, 5-0. Boy, we're doing a lot of unique things tonight, all very diverse. 08-05-21, consideration to join the Cahaba Waste Authority. Come on.
We just wanted to update, I'm gonna let the mayor speak too. He's actually going to a meeting tomorrow in the Mayor's Association meeting. Because what we would like tonight is to send this out for recommendation to the full council tonight to be able to join the Waste Authority as they are getting ever so close. I think there's, is it 5 or 6?
Five right now.
5 that have already joined, and they're waiting on, I think there's 3 or 4 others of us that they're waiting. I know 2 of the other cities, I think, are doing theirs next week.
And they'll be at the meeting tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and so it's just basically tomorrow, the mayor's going to a kind of a follow-up of the last meeting we had of everything that's on there, but we just, my position is that we want to have a seat at the table, whether we do anything or not. We just still want to be able to have a seat at the table to understand this, because Hoover will be the first city that'll undertake negotiations with it, and we'll be able to sit with them through those negotiations and see how they go, so. And I'll let the mayor speak to any of that.
I think he pretty much covered it. I 100% agree that if we're going to join this, that the negotiations with Hoover are going to go forth, and we need to be a part of that so that when our time comes, we have the ability to look and see what parts of the authority we want to actually take advantage of, because we're looking at, certain parts of our contract we'll be up at the end of the year. So it's things we need to take a hard look at. But again, just signing up, we're not obligated to do anything. We're not committed to do anything. We're just putting our name in there along with these other municipalities so that we have, the same pot to choose from.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor.
so you're looking for a motion to join the
I have a question.
Mr. Allen has a
consideration
question.
to, yes.
I just want to learn more about what the Cahaba Waste Authority does and what's the purview.
So, and Berkeley's been at a couple of these meetings, but essentially, he just wants to know.
Just
more
describe
about
it a little
what
bit.
the authority is. What it is, basically, it's being able to negotiate with, it gives you the ability as a group, as an authority, to negotiate if you want trash, garbage, recycle, leaf pickup. I mean, there's a
array of things that other cities do that we don't do. And basically what that does, by us joining it, it's almost, I think the kind of the rule that they gave is almost kind of like a buffet. You get to pick and choose of those areas that you know, that may benefit your city by being able to look at those areas or those services.
If you're a member of.
Yeah, if you're a member. If
Of
you're
the
not a
authority.
member, it gives you don't do anything because you gotta bid it out.
Is it the idea we have more buying power?
It's a cafeteria
Yes.
plan.
It's like a cafeteria type plan. And right now, if you take the cities that are looking to join, it would roughly be about 55,000 households that it would service. And so with that, it gives the opportunity for the cities to look into it and see what service is being provided that we could benefit from. You know, some we can, some, so.
Would it lower cost because we're joining a?
Correct, it's
Yes.
bundling.
Yeah, it's almost like a fund.
Yeah,
That's the
right.
idea.
So yeah,
is to
well,
take
and
it.
it's also worth, go ahead, Mr. Kinder.
Okay.
Make one comment?
Sure, yeah.
To join, you just have to adopt a resolution, which certainly is pretty uniform, no problem, but you also need a designated member.
Yes.
representative.
Right.
So if you take action to join, also be able to tell me who you want to be in the resolution to be the member on behalf of.
Could be someone sitting along the wall back there.
Yes, I believe, I believe,
I think JJ.
Mr. Bischoff has already been, railroaded into,
I ain't gonna lie, I threw him under the bus. The first year is on him, but it's basically give somebody the first year, and then after that, the council appoints somebody, and I think they're looking at either 2 or 3 year terms on this thing.
They'll rotate.
Yeah, and they'll rotate off, and the council will appoint each, but the first one's a year, and then after that, then the council will come back, and I think that probably at this meeting, there'll be some discussion as to how long that person will serve for each city. It'll be, I think, the consensus was either 2 or 3 years for each city to have a representative on there, so it kind of gives people the opportunity to serve, whether it's council people or people out in the community. As long as they're a voting member, you know, that's registered to vote in their community, they can take part of this and be a part of it. So that was one of the great things about it. You can kind of reach out to others in there, but to get it going and get us in, JJ's been to the meetings with me, so it was kind of, I can't do it because I don't live here anymore, but he does, so he could step in this first year and do it, so, you know, but that's, kind of in a small sample, that's what it is, you know,
Well,
so.
it's worth noting too, there's no commitment from the city on this.
Correct.
Correct me if I'm wrong. As long as we do eventually execute a contract with them, we are a voting member, but if we end up
Yes.
passing our cycle and we don't, then we
If
won't
you-
be a voting member. after
One of the things that was
the term.
discussed, and Alex heard this when he was there, if time goes by and we never join, then basically, you know, there's no sense in doing it, so, you know, because you won't have a vote, you know, if you don't join it, so.
Right.
And I was
That's
gonna
what we would
mention-
ask, in all of the finance committees to do that.
Okay.
This is one of those regional cooperation things that this
Yeah.
Jefferson County is sadly lacking in, and this is a huge step forward, and for the Mayor's Association, and this is something that Andy and I heard about at the council roundtable. This is the right direction. I mean, this is the way to go, so, no question about it.
It's a good opportunity for a lot of the cities to be able to look at some of their costs, I mean, because they're, you know, like anything else, they're getting, you know, higher and higher, and so give an opportunity to work with some of those businesses and try to get something worked out, so.
All right,
That's it.
so,
Thank you.
So I'd make a,
oh, I'm sorry,
Walter,
yes,
Berkeley,
Mrs. Gear.
I'm kind of slow on this. I just want to be sure I'm understanding. So we're talking about services like public works services that we currently do in-house.
Solid waste stuff, yeah. Garbage,
Solid,
well,
okay.
no, we don't do everything. Recycle, we
Right.
don't do.
Would
You
recycle
know.
would potentially be a part of this?
Yes.
And leaf collection, all the
Yep.
things that we do
Yep.
will be a part of this collective body if we decided we wanted to
If you wanted to go down that
contract
road.
out with some things, we have an opportunity to do
That's
that.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Correct.
the way, I'll describe it the way that I looked at it after going to the meeting was, it provides us with sort of collective buying power by all these entities working together. And then we have the benefit of choosing, if we want to do something, we pick it up. If we just want to do recycling, then we get the benefit of that in the recycling. If we want to do more than that, we do more than that. But whatever it is, it just gives us participation in it, gives us more options in terms of buying power, and because everyone's negotiated together.
And we pay to be a part of this?
No.
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 Okay.
Just
We,
part of
there isn't, there's no obligation that extends to it in any way,
Now, I think as things,
other than JJ having to show up.
yeah, that's it. Now, I think as things progress along and authority grows, it may come to a point one day that they appoint a director over it and, you know, some in-house, you know, administrative people to do billing and stuff. I think right now Hoover's kind of agreed to kind of take on that first wave to see how things go, you know, because they're the first ones up on the.
Hoover's contract, all of Hoover's contracts come up in the next few months, so
Yeah.
they've got to do this anyway, so
They gotta do it anyway.
that will provide the rest of us with a good bit of information about
So, but it
what's
doesn't,
available.
we don't have to, you know, if we wanna skip out, don't do anything, that's up to you guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll add one quick thing. What Mrs. Andrus said is that there are so few examples of cooperative efforts. The library cooperative is probably the best example of what could happen if everybody worked together. And the problem is we have 38 municipalities in Jefferson County, so that always adds a challenge to that. So anytime we can do that, I think it's a good thing. So is there a motion?
I think Mr. Harden made it, didn't he?
Yeah, I think Mr. Harden.
I'll second it.
Yeah, I make a motion that we consider joining the Cahaba Waste Authority.
Second.
Okay, and make sure you add to that,
Disney.
that we have a designated representative being J.J. Bischoff.
That we will have a designated representative that will do his job, and his name's J.J. Bischoff.
Okay. And,
Second amended motion.
Okay, and then Mr. Gwaltney, do you second that?
I second the
Okay.
amended motion, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, it's been motion seconded. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign, 5-0. That passes.
Congratulations, JJ.
Congratulations. We're gonna get you a plaque. All right, we're moving on here. 12:05:21, request to consider budget amendments for 2021 budgets. And this was distributed this afternoon. So, and you have copies if anybody needs it, don't you?
Yes, I presented everybody with copies of the budget amendments.
Robert, what's the street damage that was done that we got insurance money for?
Okay, that is the Patriot Park connector where the wooden fence and the chain link fence were damaged. This will be, we will receive insurance proceeds. We're just funding this line to get the repair started. Yes, ma'am. And the same with the police insurance fund repairs as well. That's $7,500 for them.
Any other questions?
I would make a motion to approve the budget amendments as presented.
So moved. Second.
Second, okay, perfect. We have a motion by Mrs. Smith, second by Mr. Alamon. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign, 5-0, that passes. 13:05:21, request to consider audit presentation for FY 1920 audit. We're going to carry this over to the meeting on the 21st. I figured we had enough on the agenda tonight, so we'll carry that over for the next Finance Committee meeting. 14:05:21, request to consider lease on property for parking spaces near Homewood Antique Mall to Buddy Wade Estate. Let me try to explain it, and then you can jump in, Mr. Burgett. For those that are not aware of, we have a really good agreement that we've set up with the parking spaces next to the Edgewood Business District. And we've been able to utilize the parking lot for our shoppers who come to Edgewood and everything. And so we have an agreement with them now. It's at $4,300.
$4,300 annually, yes, sir.
And they have come to us really just asking if we can help them out, because they have their property tax notice that is right under $8,500 that they're having to pay for ad valorem for that lot. So they're asking for us to consider you know, increasing that amount so that they can make their property tax payments. I think when we first worked with them initially, that 4,300 was probably their payment at that time, is that
Yeah,
right?
the original deal was we'd pay the property tax.
Okay,
That's what the arrangement was with.
so that was the arrangement, we would pay the property
Yeah,
tax?
that's what the lease amount was. We set it at the property tax.
Okay,
There's no other value, and the family, Buddy had died at that point, but the family's not willing to sell it, or really ask anything else other than the city cover the property tax.
okay,
Since
so,
the increase of the property tax, I guess, brought this about.
Yeah, the last 2 years of property tax has escalated substantially. And the two notices, I provided y'all with the recent notices that they paid, and it was $8,490.99. And they just asked that we cover the property tax.
All right.
They're not asking for anything else.
That was the original deal years ago.
that's the original
So the amount's just
agreement.
changing.
So we're
Yeah.
we're
Based on
basically
the tax.
upholding
Yeah.
the agreement. So, Mr. Kendrick,
But in the lease, it spells that amount, because that's the amount of the tax.
So do we just need to make it, change it to in no more than $8,500, at least for now, until the property taxes go up again, I guess?
Mr. Burgett, where does that money, that extra money, $4,000?
Well, we'd have to allocate it through, the payment is due in August, so we'd have to take it from carryover fund balance.
So we pay them once a year in August.
We pay them once a year in August, yes, sir.
For that year that's due in October, okay.
Yep.
Well, I would make a motion to amend the existing contract to cover the new property tax amount to not exceed $8,500.
was that Mr. Gwaltney? Yes. Okay, well, okay, it's moved by Mrs. Smith, second by Mr. Gwaltney. I will mention this just so that we're aware. I mean, they have asked for us to help them out on last year's payment, but they failed to bring that to us, so I don't know if we can do anything about that. But that was a request, right, Mr. Burgett?
Yes, they requested that we consider the next payment, and they also mentioned that we look back at the prior, actually, there's a prior 2-year payments, if we wanted to consider that, but that wasn't put to the council at this time.
Okay.
I would consider amending the motion personally, because this property is immensely valuable to parking and businesses in Edgewood. So I think that would be a low-cost, good faith thing to do for the Wades.
Would we?
It's also the place that kids go over.
Yeah, I
there
was about to
and
say,
drink beer.
familiarly known as Sam's Lot.
Yeah.
Sam, yeah, so
Where they
we're
hang
looking,
out
so
tonight.
last year.
Where else would you go and drink beer? I mean, and throw your beer cans out.
All right, last year, the payment was the same, right?
It was $4,300.
$84.99, so we're looking at,
Do we just need to have them submit the previous 2 years' bills so that we can,
I can ask them to provide those to us.
because I think that would be a separate, I agree that that was a good faith thing that we should do, but I think that would be a separate thing from this, just because we'd need to get those bills in.
okay.
That would be a back payment as opposed to the payment
Sheriff
going
Kendrick.
forward.
Do you want me to amend the lease to provide that the rental rate will be equal to the?
The property taxes, that's probably the best way to do it. Yes, I would amend my
Going
motion,
forward.
I would amend my motion to that.
Do you
And
accept-
then,
do you accept
Yeah,
that second?
I will. Mr. Kendrick, can we not take care of this by amending the motion and just
I
not
think
have to?
we could
Do
take
it
care
all-
of.
Yeah, because I would just
Okay.
assume not have to come back.
okay, well then let's just bundle that all up, and if you can get the previous 2 years' bills submitted for us, so we
The year
can find
before
out.
was
the-
7,800, I believe, so.
So it'd be a 3,000.
Also, is there any way to avoid like having to come to us every year so that it's just, if this is.
That's what he
That's where
said,
he'll
he's gonna
amend
do it
these.
so that it'll just amend to
Going forward
the,
is easy, going backwards is a little more difficult.
yeah, yeah,
You
So-
need to get a specific amount presented as a claim, and then we can authorize that.
Yeah,
right. So, yeah, but going forward, he said he's gonna change it so it'll adjust to whatever the ad valorem
So
property
get
tax
the-
is.
Get the.
Prior years,
Bring
okay.
it to the council, let them authorize that payment as additional.
yeah.
Okay, all right, so yes, so
So the
my
to-
motion's for all of that.
So so the total for all 3 years would be right under 12,000 for all 3 years.
But again, we'll have to do that separately because the payment is not gonna be, the one payment's not gonna be due until October. And the 2 payments we could go ahead and authorize to be done.
Okay, so that's
Soon.
your motion.
Yes.
Okay, it's been seconded. Any other discussion?
Well, the only thing I was gonna say, I asked Cindy Wade whether we could put a bunch of lighting there to get rid of the beer drinking issue, but she said the neighbors don't like the lighting, I guess.
So I wouldn't let-
They like the lights less than they like
Well-
beer drinking, I guess.
Well, one option though, that we,
Go drink beer somewhere else.
There's a place down Lakeshore they all like to go to.
Don't talk about the free bed.
all right, strike that from the
Harden
record.
ratting
Ms.
everybody
Salter.
out.
We've all been that age.
Okay, okay. Okay, I've lost control. Okay, it's been motioned, seconded. Any other comments?
So, for the-
Okay, all in favor say aye.
For the record,
Aye.
is it
All
$12,000
opposed?
for $12,000 authorized? Is that what it is?
Well, we don't know.
We don't
haven't
know.
gotten those bills yet.
Okay.
We're
I'm just gonna
authorizing the
amend the-
contract and repayment of the two previous years when they get their bills.
I can't tell you what that
You're
price
gonna change
is
the list
right
going
now.
forward, just say that whatever the current property tax is.
Correct. Okay, that passed 5-0, by the way. Okay, and we only have one more item. 180521, request for consideration authorization of the mayor to sign lease for space on third floor of Homewood City Hall. President White.
So this is empty space up on the third floor. Mr. Kendrick's law firm has asked about renting it. They're moving from their current building. And so right now, there are tenants here that are paying, I've already forgotten, 18?
The present rental rate for, and I'm looking at the lease, Ms. Salter can confirm if she would, for Hamilton is $18.50, and for the power company space is $19.50.
And
I would propose $20 more than anybody else.
Below the market.
It's-
Glad you didn't go to
It may be,
17.
but the last time we leased it, and JJ can speak to this, we paid a real estate agent about $30,000 for lease space.
And this is space that's been empty for 8+ years.
So we
It's not in
spending,
really good shape. I'm gonna have to make.
are we spending any money on it?
No.
Okay, then that's a good price. We don't have to spend money.
It's been empty for how long, 8 years?
Been empty for about that long.
Oh, wow. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
How many square feet is it?
It's 2,300 square feet. The power company, let me see, I'm looking at the lease. The Hamilton is 6,568 square feet, and the power company space is 3,700 square feet.
All right.
So anyway, that's what the lease is for.
I would motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, approve and authorize the mayor to sign the lease. Okay.
And the
Okay.
lease will be exactly as the other tenants, just change the name.
Yes, okay.
One of my
Move,
partners is retiring, we're selling our building, and my lease will be contingent upon my building closing on June 18th at 2 o'clock. As Mr. Harden will tell you,
You never know.
if it doesn't, I'm not gonna be a tenant.
Right. You
We'll
never
be
know.
thinking about you on the 18th.
It's a little different than the residential world.
All right, it's been moved by Mrs. Smith, second by Mr. Harden. Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. 5-0. I believe that's all. Anybody have anything else? Thank you for your participation tonight, and we're adjourned.